Riveroonies! Hey! Sorry, I'm kicking off a little bit late. Look at this beautiful day. But you could probably hear the heater going because it's only 11 degrees Celsius, which is not warm. But the sun's out and there's blue skies. So I've just grabbed a coffee from Park Cafe. And because of my knee, I was about to walk to the beach from here and remembered I'm not allowed to do stairs unless unavoidable. And I have to take some stairs to get down onto the beach. So we're going to drive up to the other end, up to the surf club end, where we actually, as a member of the surf club, we actually installed a ramp down onto the beach. And we're going to walk up to the river mouth, something a bit different. I'm going to have my little daily stroll. Still not able to power walk or do the sort of walk and exercise I normally enjoy, but I'm not complaining. So we're leaving Park Cafe. Got my cappuccino. Pip, pip, we're away. This is going to be a beach walk for pleasant people. I do not want to engage with any unpleasant people today. So if you're pleasant, you are more than welcome. If you're not, come back another day when I'm in the mood for you and your unpleasantness. It's such a beautiful day. If anyone's going to join me, still contemplating changing the name of this channel to a final change. I won't change it again, and it's only due to the reaction I'm getting on Facebook and my Instagram that I'm thinking about changing it. But if anyone does feel like going for a beach walk, come hither. It's not going to be my sort of usual exercise kind of stroll. It's going to be a very gentle frolic. It's a lovely day today. There's quite a few surfers out. But I often take you down to that car park. So we're going to go to the other end of Carlton Park Beach here in ugly Tasmania. It's we're going to the Carlton end. So Carlton Park Beach is its official name, but locals refer to each end. One is Park, and that's the end that I live at. And the other end where the surf club is, which is the Carlton Park Beach Surf Club, we call Carlton. Hey, Kylie. Hey, check out this. Oh, my God. Don't get excited. We've just gone up to 12 degrees Celsius. Woo! Check out this beautiful day. Look at that sky. Yesterday, it pissed down all day. I had a couple of lives. I had 2 lives planned, and I didn't end up doing either of them because my knee is doing really well, but it re-dislocated only a tiny bit. So it had to be reset, and that brought about massive waves of adrenaline and nausea. And also the need to lie down and elevate, which neither lying down and elevating a leg are good for going live when you were requiring a computer screen and showing things. So I'm travelling really well today. I haven't even got my support brace on, because it was the one I had on yesterday was caning. It made it worse. And I also need to re-strap my knee. So I'm actually going commando. It is a cracker day. I did think, oh my God, it's 13 degrees now. It's getting warmer the further I'm going along. I did think about putting on my beanie because I had my beanie on this morning. I was doing a couple of little jobs in the garden. So the worst thing about my knee is not the knee itself, because that is just going to heal and get better over time. It's all the things that I love doing that I've not been able to, like gardening. And I do have a weed pulling implement that I don't need to bend over to use. It's like it's on a long handle. So I did some of that today, so at least I felt like I did a bit of gardening. But I've got holes and things that I need to dig, and I'm still not quite there yet. So there's only one pleasant person on YouTube, and that's you, Kylie, because nobody else is visiting. Maybe the title put people off. They read it and they're like, I'm anything but pleasant. I will not be joining her live. But we're going to go for I've got to park as close as I can because I don't have a disabled badge, but I am disabled. Yeah, I reckon people see it's not shag. Well, I can be creative. It's certainly not shag ready for some of the shagging positions I prefer. I can have conversations like this with you when it's just you and me. But yeah, Alive for Pleasant People didn't attract anyone except Kylie. Kylie is the only pleasant person on YouTube. It's too nice a day to deal with nasties. Did you see my community post on my Smooth Criminal channel? Probably not. I got a comment from someone who said basically that I'm making money. It's under the live I did about Frankie Ruchek Jr. suing Armchair Detective. And they basically accused me of making money. I'm like, channel isn't monetized, not even qualified to be monetized. Didn't put that in the comment. Just said it's not monetized, never will be. So your comment is irrelevant, but thank you, I guess. There must be some drama going on. Look, don't feel like you've got to hang around with me because I'm Nigel No Friends. Tony Marchetti released Mr. Koberger. Comes in with all guns blazing. Release Mr. Koberger. Why? Why should Mr. Koberger be released, Tony? That's a conversation I can have because I'm just talking to pleasant people today. No, look, I didn't expect you to, Kylie. I mean, people that are on YouTube 24/7 probably won't see it. A few people commented, Emily and Morgan saw it. That's why I thought they might come over because they were active on my Smooth Criminal channel a few minutes ago. You spelled Koberger wrong too, by the way, Tony. Not that I give a shit, but just a comment. I'm not showing you my rear. I'm showing you my beach. I don't want rumpology, thank you. And now just chatting about my dislocated knee issue. The fact that it stops you doing things that you enjoy. I just bumped into a friend of mine when I was grabbing my coffee, and I was saying to him that, I'm really missing going to the gym. And he said going to a gym is a precursor to dying because he's a cynical bastard. But I said, yeah, but for me, it's actually one of the reasons I love the gym. And I mean, I go to the yoga studio. I mean, when I say gym, I'm not just, lifting weights, but it's actually a form of socializing for me. Even though I've got a pretty busy social life with friends and family, there are periods of time that, like I have a couple of days off a week and my friends are all at work. And so going to the gym is my way of socializing because otherwise I'd just stay at home and not deal with people at all because people suck. Present company excluded. But yeah, I didn't end up being able to do my lives yesterday because of my knee readjustment, which was pleasant. Wait, what? News Nation reporting Koberger and a naked man had relationships with the survivors. I don't trust news. No. They're shocking. They're just a tabloid. That's all they are, tabloid journalism. And that sort of is what part of my live yesterday, my planned live, one of them was about the death of a chef who's a judge in Australian MasterChef. And this week, he died earlier in the week, and as usual, speculation was rife about how he died, and people saying some pretty reprehensible stuff. And I was going to be showing examples of the sort of tabloid journalism and just the chaotic reaction to his death and what people were saying happened to him. And I'd even found a really good article saying that we don't need to know everything, and it's not our right to know everything, and it's irresponsible to speculate without facts and put it all out there for the world to see, because it is, in my view, it's a disgusting thing to do when a family is just coming to terms with the fact their much loved family member has died suddenly. And I still would like to do that live because some information's come out today which is sort of relevant to what I was going to talk about and why it's so disgusting to speculate. It's one thing to speculate. We've talked about this so much. It's one thing for us all to sit around like a dining room table and speculate. This is the surf club that I belong to, Carlton Park, established in 1975. Got new rooms in there. It's bloody awesome. Yeah, find an independent station and stick with it. So this is the ramp we managed to put in for wheelchair access to the beach, which is fabulous. But it's also very handy for people with dislocated kneecaps. The Daily Mail reporting Kopecker and Koberger had a gay relationship. See, I mean, I'm just waiting for the trial, you know. Even the preliminary hearing, I mean, I'll cover it, but it's really just, hello, people arriving in Tassie. It's really just a probable cause kind of hearing, the preliminary hearing. It's very unlikely the prosecution won't succeed on it. It's the trial that I'm interested in. But all this, I see Koberger stuff popping up in my timeline all the time, and it's kind of like, well, none of it matters unless it ends up being evidence, you know, in the trial, and they're not releasing evidence. It's just all gossip, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there are channels that talk about the occasional document that gets released, but all that does, I think, is it just leads to more speculation, and people are just irresponsible with speculating now. So, yeah, it's one thing to sit around a dining room table and chat about a case and what you think might have happened or a story or whatever, but it's another to take it public and then put that information out there as fact without factoring in there are people coming to terms with the loss of someone they adored, and where's the respect for them or for the person who's just died even? Now, am I going to be able to read comments? Hey, Bristol. Get your bathers on and show us you slashing around in the water. Steve wants gag order dropped 25th May, so Koberger. Don't, yeah, whatever. I can't even keep up with the Koberger stuff you're saying. Just sounds sensationalistic. And I'm not putting my bathers on. I'm not even allowed to swim yet. I'm only allowed to walk. I've got a dislocated kneecap, man. But yeah, I'd like to be able to go back to the gym because I don't want to get chonky. I'm not going to burn a lot of calories on this walk, but it's more about getting some fresh air. Because yesterday, like, I try to go for a walk every day, like when my knee isn't fucked. No matter how vile the weather, like I even like going for a walk in the rain. I never go live when I do that though because it'll fuck up my phone. But yesterday it was so bad, like it wasn't worth putting on my Arctic weather gear to go for a little stroll. How you doing, Bristol? So we're going to walk up to Carlton River, to the river mouth. I can't believe how warm it is, even though it is only somewhere between 11 and 13 degrees Celsius. But the sun is still warm. That's why I love this time of year. Like, even though summer is over and we're heading into winter soon, we still have warm sun in autumn. It's beautiful. There's Barry, the seagull. Bazza. We've been talking about you, mate. Oh, all the soldier crabs are out. Okay, I've got to look down and be careful I don't tread on any. I'm going to see if I can show them to you. There's all these bits of raised sand. They're actually crabs, little crabs that are coming up. Hang on. Hopefully you can see some of them. Ow, this is not good for my knee. But, ouch. Oh, shit. Oh my God, okay, I'm not doing that again. Fuck. Ow. That hurt my knee. I don't have a dog. I did just buy my friend Charlie's dog Dusty a $2 dog biscuit at the cafe. Here's my dog. See, I've got a dog. There's a dude coming along behind me who's topless. Yeah, so there's all these little soldier crabs. Hopefully you saw one, but reminder to Tori, squatting like that with a desiccated knee is not good. I'm walking up above them, but yeah, there's literally hundreds of little soldier crabs. And they all come up out of their little burrows and look for food. That's why there's all those little tiny piles of sand, because they've come up or they're going back in. But there's literally little crab mounds the whole way along the beach where we are. And the whole way in the other direction too. They're so groovy. Yeah, that bending wasn't good. 21 degrees here on the west coast. I thought you were in Melbourne for some reason. 5 years of the current government taxing us to change the weather hasn't worked. For some reason, I always thought you were in Melbourne. But yeah, so there's soldier crabs everywhere. They're very cute. When I first moved back to Tassie after being a mainlander for 20 plus years, I had a mission every weekend. I packed a tent and camping supplies in the boot of my little MX-5 convertible, and every weekend or Friday when I finished work, I'd just jump in my car and stop at a shop and grab some supplies and then just drive in a direction till I found a campground, and like I'd basically drive till as long as I could till it was about to get dark, and then I'd pitch my tent and spend the night somewhere. And then some weekends I wasn't able to do that, so I'd just do like a little day trip. And my first day trip was down to this beach after living on the mainland for 20 plus years. And I came down to this beach and saw the soldier crabs that day. Little did I know I'd end up living here. I'm Greek, but don't live in Melbourne. Oh, you're West Coast New Zealand. Ah. Bad stereotype because, well, it's not a stereotype, a bad accent. How bizarre, eh? And interesting, you learn something new every day. But yeah, I can't believe how bad that squatting on my knee was. That was not good. I mean, I didn't squat on my knee, but squatting, what it did to my knee, the impact on my knee was not good. In fact, it hurt a lot. And I forgot that I didn't have my kneecap strapped or a brace on, so that was a bit dumb. Anywho, we're upright and strolling like an old broken person. And Charlie and I were both just saying, how do we get to an age where when we catch up, the first things we talk about are our health issues? Getting old. You bought the cheapest house in New Zealand 4 years ago. Beautiful day in Brizzy, sunny and 26. Oh, that's lush. I mean, I can't really complain. Have a look at this part of the world today. Nothing to complain about. And the sun on my back, I'm actually wearing a jumper. The sun on my back right now is so warm. It doesn't feel like it's only 12 or 13 degrees. It's so nice to still have that little bit of warmth in the sun. When that warmth goes, whoa. And we had some really cold days. Monday I worked from home. It was really cold. Tuesday at the office was very cold. And yesterday was pretty bad. Today is divine. It's one good thing about living on a little island. The shitty weather doesn't hang around for very long. I mean, we can get 4 seasons in 1 hour here, but 17,000 bargain, Tony. I mean, I think what I paid for my place down here, I've got the last really good deal here, I reckon. Like, I couldn't afford to build or buy here now. And my house is only 8.5 years old. And in Tassie, historically, if you bought a property, you had to wait for like 10 years to really see much of an increase in the value. Whereas here, my place went up by 10% every year for the first 6 or 7 years. And then in the 7th year, it went up 14% in value. And I don't have the figure for this year yet. But yeah, I could not afford to buy my house that I'm living in now. It's crazy. But Tasmania's real estate market went ballistic with COVID. Yeah, vitamin D, it's the best, huh? Just going to stand actually and look up at the sun with my eyelids closed. You meant to do this for 15 minutes. I'm not going to do that. That'll be very boring live. But because your eyelids are so thin that they absorb vitamin D very quickly. I do it every single day. The whole year, because Tassie, we need it. We're notorious for having low vitamin D, even if you're not able to get outside, but you can sit in a window and the sun is out, it still works. You're turning down offers of over 100,000. If I sell, I couldn't afford to buy anywhere else unless I get a fancy lady. Well, this lady ain't fancy. She couldn't. I mean, if I sold my house right now, I would be in a very good position financially. However, what I would be able to buy with that money, in my view, I'd be downgrading. So I'm going to stay put. I've got no plans to ever leave my house. I want to die in it. I want to be taken out of it in a box. You will not find me in an aged care facility, especially being nursed by the new generation of wokies. Mm-mm. They're ageist. They don't know anything about empathy or compassion. Not all of them. I'm generalizing. I don't want them looking after me when I'm old. Look at how bad elder abuse is already. Imagine what it's going to be like when we're old. Nah, no way. Not doing it. I love this spot right here. Good luck with that, Tony. All you have to do is pay my bills and leave me alone. Yeah. Hello, puppy. Yeah, I've got another dog. This is my other dog. This is Mookie. Well, it's not really Mookie. I just made the name up. That's the dude who doesn't have his shirt on. That's how warm it is, man. Even though it's only like 13 degrees, the sun. Oh, the bathroom. Okay. So I'm still waiting to hear back from the insurance company about it as to whether or not they're going to cover it. I've managed to read the fine print, and with a background, some of my legal career in insurance, I'm pretty confident they're going to deny my claim because they have 2 exclusion clauses. So if they exclude on one, it's done and dusted. And if they accept on one, they're going to exclude on the other. Knowing what's going on with my house now. So that's fucked. Because I know people who have flooded their laundry 3 times just from being reckless idiots, and their insurance company has covered all 3 major repair jobs. I also know of another girl who has managed to destroy every floor in her entire house because she forgot she was running a bath. And her insurer is currently replacing all of her floors. My issue? Possibly some minor Australian standard requirements not met. And there's a clause that excludes that. I'm outside my builder's warranty for a new build now, I'm pretty sure, but I'm speaking to a friend of mine who's a property lawyer as a client, like a paying client, to get advice on that. So if the insurer says no, and I have no recourse under the building warranty, I'm going to ask my builder if he has people on his books needing work right now who can come and do what I'm going to refer to as a patch job, because I don't want to replace an 8-year-old bathroom at the princely sum of 25 grand from something that's happened that is not my fault. Hey, Emily! And sweet dreams to those of you in Michigan who are settling in for the night. So, I'm hoping I can get what I'm going to refer to as a creative builder who's going to be able to reset the shower recess drain so that it's properly sealed, redo the grouting in the shower, because being a house on stilts, they have a flex and they move a little bit, so things like grouting, occasionally little holes might appear on it. Get that done and put in a couple of new support beams. The beam that's rotting, it's a support beam for the floor, but it's not a support beam for the building. So it's not like a major support beam. But put a couple of new ones in and remove the one that's rotting. And then because my house is on stilts, leave the underside of that part of the bathroom exposed. So if another leak does appear, it's just going to go straight down onto the ground and not pull in underneath the floor, which is what's happened. And I'll just get the grouting checked every year and I'm just going to live with it until I die. This is Carlton River. Hey, Joman. Yeah, I've brought you guys up to the other end because of my knee. I can't do stairs, and I was going to walk down to the beach from the coffee shop, and then I was like, you can't do stairs, and you need to go downstairs to get to the beach. So I've driven up to the other end. So at the Carlton River end, and this is the river, obviously. And we're going to go for a little walk along here for a change. This is a tidal river, so it's very dangerous. Very dangerous. So you've got the surf right there on the point. And being a tidal river, they're very unpredictable. They often have whirlpools. And there's big signs up saying, do not swim here because it's a tidal river and you will drown. Or you could drown. And whenever there are people swimming down here, I'm like, hey, you guys locals? And they always say, yep. I was like, okay, cool. So you know about it being a tidal river then? And they're like, yep. And then we turn around and head back along the beach and you can see them scurrying out of there. Mind you, heaps of locals surf just in there. The break off the point's pretty good. We don't have crocs in Tassie, no. Be careful? What do you mean? With my knee? Oh, or do you mean the river? The river's not going to suddenly go up 3 metres. It's just in the river. You can see how the sand's really shallow where we are. You can even see a bit of a sandbar. But then out there, it's different colour. It's very deep. It's also a little baby shark sanctuary. Not white pointers, gummies, and they're pretty harmless. But still, they can latch onto you and they're hard to get off. So why you would want to swim in a little shark sanctuary, I don't know. But it's pretty gorgeous. And then obviously back down that way is the end of the beach where I live. We do have sharks, we do have orcas, and we do have penguins. Here's some more people arriving. Welcome to ugly Tasmania. Or welcome home. They're on Jetstar, or as I call it, Shitstar. It's a reason it only has 1 star on its logo. No, they're actually okay. They just cancel flights a lot, which sucks. But isn't this beautiful? Yeah, we have lots of whales. In fact, we get whales here. There's a video on this channel of me. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon. I was working. This is like back in a previous job. But we did a lot of after hours work and stuff like that. And I raced down to the beach and actually walked along the beach and filmed the whales as they swam alongside me. Southern right whales. It was pretty cool. It was a mum and her calf. All right, now I'm going to very gingerly do the side shuffle down. Here's more soldier crabs. Hundreds of them. I'm going to see if I can show you one without squatting down like I did because that really messed with my knee. See that little groover? That's a soldier crab. I'm the worst local predator? I wish. So this area in here is pretty gorgeous. A lot of people have weddings on the beach, but a lot of people choose to get married in here because there's a couple of places that do receptions, including one up here. And they get married in this area so they can walk up there and have their reception. I don't know if we might, maybe I'll walk there and I'll walk back, and I reckon that's a pretty decent walk on a dislocated knee. Very different to a blue crab. Soldier crabs are tiny, like the size of your thumb fingernail. They do actually have a bit of blue on them, and that might be why they're called soldiers, because it looks a bit like a uniform, maybe, I don't know. Don't know where they got their names from, but they do march down the beach, and this time of day they're all coming up and heading down to get food, and then they scurry back and then they burrow back down under the sand. I am staying on the hard sand. Thanks for your support. You just thanked yourself, Emily. What are you doing? But the sand is really hard. It's perfect. And also there's lots of, I'll come over a bit closer because there's heaps of soldier crabs running around in the shallow water. You might get an idea of how many there are. There's literally thousands of them on this beach. They go the whole way along. Can you see them all running? Probably not. I mean, they make a noise. There's so many of them. They sound like hundreds of little feet splashing in water. Hey, Betty Damn Beep. Oh, 16. Yeah, I don't get to see them. Wow, 16 months. Thank you so much. StreamYard doesn't show that. I appreciate so much. I feel guilty that you're all members over here, and this poor little channel, I just can't quite get it to hit the algorithm again. But I'm hoping that as I'm removing things that might have taken us off the algorithm and following the advice of lots of YouTube creators, doing more shorts and things like that, I might be able to revive it. And I'm also going to rename it because I started posting some photos of the aurora and some recent sunrises and sunsets, and I keep tagging it Ugly Tasmania, and people are loving it. So I thought that would actually be a really fun name, and people would be like, what do you mean ugly? It's beautiful. And then they'll see my channel is showing off how beautiful it is, and they'll be like, she's funny and sarcastic. That's the plan. "16 months is my longest relationship." Stop it. It is not. I've got scars to prove it. Oh, Betty Jambo, my God, you say the nicest stuff. Thank you. I love, though, that I put a live for pleasant people on my current tally. There are 5 pleasant people on YouTube and me, so there's 6 of us. Go us, woo! Even though Tony's trying his hardest. Full on with the one-liners, you cheeky shit. I wish that was my longest relationship, because most of my relationships, it was probably at about the 16-month mark that I was like, you don't want to spend the rest of your life with this person. Get out. Run away. Don't look back. And I hung around and made those bloody relationships work, or tried to, or I just started tolerating more bullshit. I'd be proud if that was my longest relationship, because it would have meant I bailed when I should have. I don't know if you can see, like, can you see how, does the sand look a bit discoloured close, like where the water is? It's almost got a reddish hue to it, or a brown maybe. Like there's almost like someone's drawn. I don't want to walk closer because there's heaps of soldier crabs even up where I am. But see how there's sort of like, it almost looks like someone's given the edge of the water a bit of an eyeliner. That's all crabs. It's a moving line. Everything that looks reddish, be the crabs. There's not many at this bit where I'm walking now, but there's a few dawdling at the end, bringing up the rear, and I don't want to squash them. I did show soldier crabs on this channel once before, and as I was saying, you've got to be really careful because there's so many of them and you don't want to squash any. There was this very audible crunching sound, and I'd killed one and I felt so bad. I need to take a swig of my coffee. Oh, the water's blue-green. I'm talking about right on the water line, just there. It looks brown. That's all crabs. This is not. This is nice. Normally I leave when Tor looks down the camera with lust in her eyes. What did you see on the news today? Bristol, let me see. Oh, a meter. What's a meter shower? What's that? We're going to walk up to the Steels Island. I'm not going to call it a resort because it's not a resort. It's a sort of. Well, you can stay there, but yeah, it's not a resort. It's kind of like a glamping, but not camping. They have cabins. It's an accommodation place, but it's also. Oh, there's a baby. There's a little baby soldier crab back there. It's tiny. So cute. Definitely don't want to squash him. Although, you know, life, survival of the fittest, but still, I'm avoiding squashing them if I can. There's none now where I am. Give you another sweeping view. The dirty edge is crabs. Yes. Yes, what looks like a dirty edge is thousands of soldier crabs that are sort of a reddy, bluey, purpley colour. There's heaps of them. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in for you, but I did show one earlier, and I also nearly fucked up my knee again showing some even earlier in the live, but they're all heading down to the water to get food. And once they're fed, they then turn around and come back onto the beach and burrow back into the sand and stay there till they're hungry again, I guess till this time tomorrow. Yeah, Subaru Outbacks are great for that. But I'm a van girl. I love my vans. I've done the Subaru type of living. I like the van. I like to be able to stand up and cook dinner inside if it's raining. Call me fancy. They like people then want to be at the beach and relax. The crabs are, well, I mean, they're purely surviving right now. They're just doing what they do. They're just going down to get food and then to go back to their burrows. They're tiny. They're the size of the nail on your thumb, maybe even a bit smaller. But there's literally thousands of them, and they're the whole way down the beach. But they're not kind of just cruising around because they're not scared of people. They're just surviving. Like this little bit up here that's sticking out into the water, it's got a really dark band on it because there's an absolute shitload of crabs there. And I can't walk over to it because there's heaps of little crabs still up here on the beach making their way down. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can use your Zoom in facilities, which I'm pretty sure you can on YouTube. If you zoom in right now on what looks like that big red clump of stuff, that's thousands of crabs. Yeah, I love vans too. Achy joints, exactly. The outback's on the main island of Australia. We don't have an outback in Tassie. I'm going to stand here and let you guys try zooming in because I know that you can do it on YouTube, which is so freaky because you think, oh, imagine like zooming in on somebody if they've got a pimple on their nose or whatever, and then taking screenshots and making fun of people. No, vans aren't great on snow or ice. That is very true, but I really don't have any need to go camping in snow and ice. I'm watching all of the series of Alone and I'm getting my living in icy places fix watching that. I don't need to do it myself. The outback is to the west. But yeah, I don't know if any of you tried to zoom in. I'll see there's a little patch here where I might be able to go without stepping on any crabs. And if I point down, you can. If I shut up, you might actually hear the noise they make. Sounds like hundreds of little tiny feet paddling and splashing in water. And can you sort of see it pulsing a bit or vibrating? Yeah. But it's really hard. I don't want to. There's still a few that are coming out of their burrows now, so I'm being very careful. I don't want to get any closer than this because there's heaps of them. They look like krill. So krill look like prawns. They would make great. They probably would. They're not good eating. You wouldn't even get an ounce of protein from one of them, I don't think. Maybe. That'd be a bitch to... Oh, this one's really cute. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it to you. It's carrying a blade, or it's got a bit of grass or seaweed on it, so it looks like it's carrying a little sword. A little flag. There's another plane. It's a Qantas this time. Why can't you guys see the plane? That's happening again. It's so weird. Like there is a plane flying over the bluff at the moment, and it's not showing on my screen. Why is that happening? That's so weird. It's been happening a lot, like the helicopters and... So yeah, that's a Qantas flight. They come down pretty low. It's just now turning because pretty much at the end of the beach where we are, the next beach is 7 Mile Beach and the airport is there. And when you fly into Tassie, you fly in over the water and the edge of the runway is right on the edge of the beach. It's pretty cool. You see a Chinese weather balloon? Oh, you could see it? Awesome. Actually, speaking of Chinese weather balloons, Finn and I are doing batshit tonight. I didn't get home till quite late because I had to do an after hours with my physio to have my knee popped back in. Blech. Or my kneecap. And I said to him, dude, I've been told I need to elevate my leg and I've taken painkillers that are apparently going to knock me out in less than half an hour, which they did. So can we do batshit tomorrow? And he's like, absolutely, Groover. We haven't got Finn saying Groover. He's been saying it for a long time. If I said to him now, that is the greatest gift I've given you, he'd say, oh, you didn't tell me to say Groover. That's my thing. I'll be like, nah. No. I've been saying g'day Groover on here and in my life forever because I'm a dag. You saw the plane. Woohoo! The plane. My knee was doing really well and then it popped out just partially yesterday. Through no fault of my own, it just wasn't fully put back in properly, I think. Or I don't know. They're a fickle little thing, the kneecap. But anyway, I re-strapped it last night and then put a brace on that's really, really tight and it made it worse. So I took everything off this morning and haven't re-strapped it or anything. So I can't believe I've learned how to strap a kneecap. I've got really funky tape too. It's like the colour of the sky. So anyway, up here, this is Steele's Island, and this is like a very popular party and wedding reception venue. And it's pretty amazing because, I mean, they're just on the dunes and then people could just come down here and they do fire pots and barbecues and all sorts of stuff. It's very cool. I thought about having my last big zero birthday here, and we could all walk down with torches and, like, you know, the flame torches, and then after my party we could all light our torches and walk back to my, like, into the beach. I'm going to sit on this log for a second. It's such a good spot. I love driftwood, and this is like a drift log. Check it out. And it's like a perfect little bench. So we're just going to sit at the Carlton River. That's a pretty decent walk on a partially dislocated kneecap. I'm proud of myself. Sweet dreams, Emily. Thank you so much for popping in. Hey, what is happening on YouTube? Tell me what's going on out there. I mean, we usually get like a dozen people. Oh, you 5 minutes from the ocean to... Yeah, I'd be lost without being near a beach. I think most Australians would... I mean, we do have people that love living in the outback and living in the desert and living remotely like that, but the bulk of Australians grow up on a beach or very close to one. But in the bigger cities on the mainland, I've always had to live near the beach. Like, even when I lived in Sydney, I lived at Bondi Beach, which was unbearably expensive and also unbearably crowded, but that's the price you pay if you need to be near beaches, and I do. This is my antidepressant. Coming down here just is the best. We love you, Emily, and I'll give your love to Sunny Bum too. Hateful behaviour, is that what's happening on YouTube? I'm trying to hear. Look, respect for your persistence, if nothing else. I do have a cute bum, if I do say so myself. I've won competitions for my bottom. So, yeah, cutest bum kind of things. Everyone's stuck. Yeah, there's a lot of trials on. I agree, Joman. I agree. I say I'm blessed all the time, and then people go, why do you say that? You're not religious. And it's like, well, blessed doesn't have to be a word that you only use if you're religious. And I do feel incredibly blessed, and I don't take this place for granted. Like, it takes my breath away every single day. And I love sharing it with the rest of the world. And, you know, during COVID, when people were in lockdowns in other parts of the world, and this island we were able to get it COVID free. We had the first COVID cluster in the country, and then we became a COVID free sanctuary for over a year. It was amazing. But I saw people, you know, and countries the world over just struggling so much with it. And it was such a joy to be able to come for walks and not just show Tassie off, but for people to be able to feel like they were just walking along the beach with me. And all the feedback I used to get, it was so precious. It was a really lovely thing to be able to do, which is why all of these shitty people that get so worked up about something on YouTube and they feel they've just got to blast you with absolute hatred. It's like, I'm not, what I do on YouTube is not even close to the totality of me as a human being. B, I do let people into my life more than a lot of other YouTube creators do. But also, I say something you don't like and that warrants a tirade of hatred, one comment that you don't like, or one view that I have after researching something that doesn't match yours, and you're not able to look at all the other things I've done on this channel that people really loved and appreciated. Like, how can you be so quick to judge someone and to spew hatred at them when they've literally expressed an opinion that's different to yours? What sort of miserable existence do you have that your first step isn't to approach with a differing opinion and reasoning about why you think differently. Your first thought is to just be an asshole. and say shitty things to a stranger online. I'm never going to ever get my head around it. Are you off too, Betty Damn Beep? Good night, sweet one. Not for granted. That is the meaning I put in the word too. Tasmania is well known as a poor man's New Zealand. Interesting you say that. A couple of my Tasmanian friends just got back from a holiday in New Zealand. They went over there for the wedding of two friends of mine, who one is a New Zealander and one is an Australian, and they've lived in Tasmania ever since they met. As in, the New Zealander has lived here the entire time he's been with her, and they're now married. And my friends who went over for the wedding loved it and thought it was incredibly beautiful, but also said that it's stuck in the 70s. And we get accused of that in Australia. Everyone says Tasmania's behind, which I disagree with. We actually do a lot of very progressive stuff. And we can also be incredibly conservative. Can't light my ciggy, hang on. There you go, Tony, you're between my legs. Momentarily. Back to the scenery. So yeah, a bit rude, man. Yeah, water's amazing. It's so good for the soul. I wouldn't know what's happening. I've been watching the trial. Well, that's one of the trial. I mean, yeah, if anyone's following the horrible, horrible murder of gorgeous little Gannon, I mean, there's plenty of channels covering it. Most of you know, though, when it comes to crime and stuff like that, I don't cover cases with child victims for many reasons, but yeah, I generally avoid them unless there's some sort of connection with, you know, the cult, the death vultures, the online citizen sleuths interfering with investigations. I will comment in that regard, but in terms of actually following the case, I don't. And I didn't actually act for anyone when I was a criminal lawyer who murdered a child either. In fact, I didn't have any cases with child victims at all. I know there are so many sad people. You're getting blocked for saying funny stuff. I know. Well, I did. I mean, I kind of got told off for having a laugh with the Depp Heard trial because I uploaded to my Smooth Criminal channel a video of us all just having a bit of fun when Amber was accused of quoting movies and books. My chat, who, as you know, are fucking hilarious, came up with some gems, and I was really overtired. I'd been doing 9-hour lives that started at 11 o'clock at night and went through till about 8 in the morning, and then I'd do, on some occasions, I then worked a full day and did an exemplary job, by the way. I worked in breakfast radio. I know how to do a lot of work for a lot of hours in a row. Doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, I got berated for that. And it's like, I was very respectful of that trial and very aware that there was a toxic relationship. And in my opinion, they were both abusive. And I covered the UK trial and the judgment and what happened in that. And I maintained that all of my commentary was about whether or not the elements of that particular charge would be met. But funny things fucking happened in that trial. I'm sorry, but a lawyer objecting to his own question is funny. It doesn't take away from how serious the subject matter was. Anyway, it's a member of the community who I really like, and I respect her a lot, and I appreciated her comment, but it was just, I literally uploaded a 10-minute clip of us having a bit of fun after covering a very heavy trial, and I equated it to being berated for laughing at my mother's funeral, which I was. I gave a eulogy with jokes in it. My mum was a very funny person and she wanted to be remembered as funny and bright and colourful, and we all remembered her that way. But when I retell some stories in my comedy act about it, I have been heckled for making fun of my mother's death. And I'm not. I'm just sharing a funny story that was told at her funeral that made everyone laugh when they were bawling their eyes out. And I'm sorry, but laughter through tears is my favourite emotion. And yes, I'm quoting Still Magnolias. So anyway, I responded to her comment because she's very clearly thinking I'm just pro Johnny and it was all a big laugh and I bought into the narrative, which wasn't true at all. But yeah, uploading a little 10-minute clip of us having a bit of fun and she didn't like it. I can't help that I mean, the Smooth Criminal podcast is about funny crimes, for fuck's sake. You know, not all of the content on my channel has to be serious. I cover a lot of serious issues. But the actual podcast, like that I did a few years ago during COVID, that was on, and it still is on podcasting platforms that I've been migrating across to the channel, that is a look at funny crimes from around the world. Because I think if you're into true crime, it's refreshing to hear some funny stories, right? I don't just want to talk about murder and irresponsible people online messing with the course of justice. Occasionally I want to have a laugh. And I want you guys to as well. And I think that's what makes the Smooth Criminal, well, it's now Sleuths and Smooth Criminals channel. I feel that that's what makes it unique and fun and serious. Yeah, New Zealand is exquisite. And Tassie and New Zealand look very similar. In fact, I've got another friend of mine who lives in New Zealand with her husband. They're both Tasmanians, but she's back at the moment. We're catching up tomorrow. Yeah, the nastiness. Hey, Collie, chatting again. The nastiness of random strangers. And I just don't get why the go-to, like the very first thing people want to do if they see or hear something they don't like is to just go straight to being really mean. Like, save that for the debate that goes on for days and you're butting heads and neither of you are going to back down or agree to disagree. If you want to start getting mean, go for it. By then I've left that discussion anyway. But for it to be your initial interaction with somebody, pretty fucking full on. Dr. Lewis was a nightmare. In the Gannon trial, just so you all know, I do carry a little portable ashtray. I don't put my butts on the beach. Eclipse Mints. They made tins that are brilliant little ashtrays, especially for like music festivals. In fact, they do limited edition ones for Blues Fest in Byron Bay. Well, they used to. I shouldn't say they still do because they don't, but they did for a few years. True crime, I only rate Burden of Proof and A Criming Shame. The rest are into gossip and clickbait. Yeah, there's a few others that I think I took the piss out of A Criming Shame, actually. I think that's the one who thought it was hilarious that a whole day of court proceedings got adjourned because of YouTubers and she thought it was the funniest thing that ever happened. I'm pretty sure it was her. Yeah, we had fun with it because funny things did happen. I mean, Elaine impersonating Johnny Depp, comedy gold. Dr. Spiegel, that bloody weird dude, and his mannerisms and his very loose tongue. I mean, I'm not talking about what he said, the way it was flapping around over his face. That was funny. It's a battle of experts, Bristol. Yeah, I know a lot of people are into it. I've actually got a lot of other things I want to talk about on my channel with the sleuthing and how fucked up it is, and also how good it is. I'm looking at both sides, by the way. Yeah, Dr. Curry, she was great. Brian Koberger will release a range of vegan cookware, kitchen knives, and open a driving school once exonerated. He's not going to be exonerated in June. That's a preliminary hearing. Maybe at the trial, not the hearing, the preliminary hearing. I have 2 shirts from it. One is objection and hearsay, and the other one is about having a mega pint. See? Yeah, mega pint. But yeah, I heard a few channels this morning, because I always put a bit of YouTube on when I'm pottering in the garden, and they were saying that there's a witness, an expert witness, who's been questionable. It was actually a channel I don't listen to, and I don't know who it was because it was playing while I was under the house. My phone was upstairs. I had my little Bluetooth speaker with me, and it had moved on to a burnt toast live from a few weeks ago. So by the time and then I forgot about it. I could have gone back, I guess, and found it, but I closed down everything. So it might be in my history, I don't know. But it wasn't someone I know. It was a girl, weirdly, who sounds a bit like burnt toast, but it wasn't burnt toast. And she was talking about Bullhorn Betty, who was talking about this witness who's been giving evidence in the last 24 hours. Dr. Curry putting her glasses on was the greatest moment of the trial. See, that's the thing. Everyone's got memories and, yeah, objection hearsay and the megapint stuff. And I don't, look, the person that commented, it was such a stretch for them to say that I'd taken the popular shit, now my brain just stopped working, narrative. And, you know, she was talking about how social media poisoned the jury and all. And it's like, it's a 10-minute clip of me and my community just having a bit of fun after covering a very heavy trial with very heavy issues. Like, that's not the totality of what I did with that trial. Like, and the way I am, I always try to find humour. I mean, I'm a fucking comedian, and comedians think alike. Like, we can find humour in the worst possible situation. And I like that. I like being able to laugh when things are fucked. I like that we laughed at my mum's funeral. We cried a lot too, but I love that everyone was in bright colours and we remembered her for the funny person that she was. She was hilarious. And I know that I even use humour sometimes when facing tricky conversations and people that are just really serious. And I mean, it used to be my mission to just try and make one person laugh a day, you know, and I've got clients at the moment, the job that I do now, who are going through the most brutal emotional and financial hardship imaginable. And if I can make them laugh, even despite what they're going through, they love it. And I love it too. Like, it's so rewarding. Dr. Spiegel's showing us the effects of crack. It was kind of him. I don't know what was going on with him, but there was something going on. And he still reminds me of Sam the Eagle from the Muppet Show. So, yeah, I mean, I hope Mob Boss comes back and chats again and at least has a look at my response and appreciates that they were very quick to accuse me of buying into the popular narrative because, God forbid, Cement Shoes and I were chatting about that particular part of one of my lives because there was an article about Amber quoting movies and stuff that we were looking at. And then I had people in my chat like Cement and Humanimal that were coming up with famous lines from famous novels, you know, like it was a dark and stormy night. And just, I was so tired, overtired and giggly. And I was in stitches just visualising Amber on the stand telling a story and just starting with, it was a dark and stormy night. Like, that was literally what it was about. And they just kept putting more and more stuff in. I mean, one of the comments was just Rosebud, and I was losing it. It was funny as. It was literary humour. I mean, that shit's highbrow, man. They weren't fart jokes. Yeah, that's right. There was another. They got the wrong Dr. Spiegel. Whoops. Do your research, people. But yeah, I mean, it was highbrow literary humour. My chat were sharing how educated they are by quoting literary masterpieces and other documents of importance. I'm pretty sure one of them put 7 years ago in there too. It was funny, and they just kept getting funnier and funnier. And I just lost it because I was so overtired and delirious. It was a happy memory. It doesn't reflect the coverage of that trial at all. We had a lot of laughs, of course we did, because it was a shit show. The whole thing was a shit show. The judge, Penny's facial expressions, Judge Penny's, alone were hilarious. Like, I don't get it. I want my community to know that when we're talking about something serious, I take it seriously, and then to lighten the mood, we'll have a little laugh at the end. That's what I do. I want the community to come back because we do that. But I'm not going to laugh at a victim because they're a victim, but laughing at Amber Heard because she's possibly quoting Notting Hill, sorry, but that's fair game. Yeah, Shakespeare did. Well, I mentioned Shakespeare because Johnny said something was rotten in the state of Denmark. It was funny as fuck. Look, it was a terrible trial, and Amber wasn't great, but neither were her legal team, let's be honest. Friggin' Elaine. Here's a channel name, 333 Half Eve. I'm never changing my name, the names of any of my channels. Well, I'm changing this one to Ugly Tasmania because I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, and I think it's going to be a doozy of a hashtag. Because, Tasmania, it's so ugly. Have a look at it. Have a look at this ugly island. Fucking ugly. Can't believe I have to live here. Why can't someone build a Besser brick wall and paint a mural of a beach or something on it so I don't have to look at this horrible view of this beach? It's disgusting. I should get paid to live here. Put up with this unsightliness on a daily basis. I nearly said Femfresh and you brought her up. Carly, I love you. I was going to go LA, and I can still smell Femfresh even when I say her name, and you just put it in chat. Oh, my God. See? We're funny. The Post-it notes, I was the first. So many people copied that. Question. Johnny wrote the name of his favourite comedian on the Post-it notes. Who is he? Well, I know Hunter S. Thompson's his favourite writer. I don't know. Who is Johnny Depp's favourite comedian? Tori. Yeah, Shakespeare is an originator of many expressions and words. He is. But then there were... Joman, you'll laugh at this. There are heaps of people who think that he was a plagiarist and a liar, of course, Is there anything in the world that can just be pure and just be left alone? Can we all just accept something and go, cool, that's a really cool fact? Nope. Someone's always got to be fucked off about something, right? Even poor old Shakespeare. YouTube. It's been the best of times and the worst of times. Kyle Dunningham, the only American comedian of British standard, in your opinion. Interesting. Don't even know who that is. But I disagree. There are some American comedians who I adore, but they're very politically incorrect. So a lot of Americans find them very offensive, which is why I find them hilarious, like Anthony Jeselnik, genius. And as much as Louis C.K. had a fall from grace during the Me Too movement, I can still isolate his art and say he is also one of the greatest comedians of my lifetime and my generation. Got a bit of a, black mark against his name now for his bad behaviour, but apparently Van Gogh was an asshole, and I like some of his paintings. Mozart apparently was very difficult and high maintenance. Love his music. So, I can isolate the art from the artist. But if they're hateful people and they say and do hateful things, then I just don't like them. I love Tim Minchin. Yes, Emily's boyfriend. I'm responsible for that love affair, and I take pride in that. But he's Australian. See, I mean, Johnny Depp should know Tim Minchin and his work. But if he was analysing American comedians, there are some really good ones. But I do think British comedy is superior. Like your mainstream American comedian. I mean, it's no fluke that Jim Jeffries, Australian comedian, did really well in the States too, because he's highly offensive, but so on point with whatever he was talking about. Thanks for the gift of Tim. You're welcome. He's a doozy. If I ever meet him, I'll say to him, I have a subscriber on YouTube. Will you do a little song for her? On the spot. Because I have to do that. I mean, the Charlie friend of mine that I just bumped into when I was grabbing my coffee is the one that Mary Marlowe was obsessed with. And I'm still kicking myself to this day because Charlie was happy to do it. We just didn't pull our fucking fingers out and do it. She loved Australian 60 Minutes. And she was particularly fond of Charlie. Now, Charlie's one of my favourite people in the world and one of my best mates. But he got to interview Ricky Gervais and he didn't take me with him as his assistant, and I will never forgive him for that. However, I was going to get, because you know how Mary Marlowe used to go, hello world, this is Mary Marlowe. So I was going to get Charlie to go, hello Mary, this is Charles Woolley, 60 Minutes Australia, how the fuck are you? And I never did it. And I regret it to this day because I think that would have just been the nicest little thing for her, because she had such a lot going on in her world and her mind. And I think she would have really appreciated that someone on the other side of the world remembered her saying she loved someone that you knew and you could do something fun with them. I still kick myself to this day. Because if someone did something like that for me, I'd just be so touched. It's just being thoughtful, isn't it, British humour is sensational. And I mean, even contemporary. I mean, my absolute favourite comedian in the world is Ricky Gervais. And nothing's going to change that. Nothing or no one. Ricky Gervais, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Kyle Dunningham. I think I do know Kyle. I'll have to... Oh, yeah, and Carl Pilkington, a modern genius too. I do know Kyle's name. I just don't know if I know that much of Kyle's work. But yeah, Carl Pilkington is a genius, like a comedic genius, without trying to be a comedic, like to even be a comedian. Carl's just been Carl. Ricky Gervais gave the world Carl, and what a gift. And he did it abroad, yeah, with Carl. Funny as fuck. Funny as fuck. Deadpan artist. He was just so he's just so honest about some of his really shitty opinions. Some really good ones too. Like I've got a lot of his quotes in my computer in a folder, and they're sort of like, you know how people say you should read an affirmation every morning and, you know, all that mindful self-care shit. Read a Ricky Gervais or a Carl Pilkington quote at the start of the day, and your day will be incredible. And I used to do that. I need to do it again, actually. I was told the other day, are you doing affirmations? I was like, oh, I forgot about them. But they do make a difference if you've got the right kind of ones happening. But my favourite Ricky Gervais quote is on my fridge, and I do see it every morning. So technically I have done an affirmation, but I've been doing the same one for a while, which is him. It's a very simple one, but it's just Ricky Gervais saying, you found it funny. You found it offensive. I found it funny, which is why I'm happier than you. That's it. And I love it. Are you listening, wokies? And I think I might just start putting that line under comments on YouTube from now on. The people that get offended with the shit that I'm doing with my channel of under 700 subscribers. This one's bigger, but it isn't growing. It's shrinking. But Smooth Criminal doesn't even have 700 subs, but boy, does the hatred find me. I think I might just start replying with Ricky. Just start using Ricky Gervais quotes and Carl Pilkington quotes. I mean, I don't want to be cunty on my responses, but part of me is just like, how come you're allowed to write something scathing because you didn't like something I did or said on YouTube? Why am I always so respectful in the way I respond? And if I quote Ricky and put his name next to it, it'd be like, well, he said it, not me. It is a quote to live by. You were offended. I found it funny. That's why I'm happier than you, is the actual quote. I got it wrong before. And that's how I have lived my life, which is why I find the snarky responses from people as their first default position so concerning. I'm up for conversations and discussions. I love them. Let's open a bottle of red and have a really, really feisty debate about something. Bring it on. But once you start calling somebody names, you've lost your argument. If you come in with all guns blazing at the start, you've lost. Like, build up. It's like a piece of amazing music, you know, like start off gentle and then build up to this insane battle and crescendo. And then the bottle of wine is empty, or several bottles are, and you're exhausted and satiated because you've had passionate, intelligent discourse with somebody for a portion of your life. That's what I'm about. Sling mud at the first chance. I kind of will respond kindly because that's just me. But from that point on, I'm not going to want you as my sparring partner. I don't want to have a conversation with you or a discussion because you've already shown me how shitty your debating technique is. I ain't got no time for that shit. You just keep spinning around in the corner, ranting and salivating and spitting. And I'll just be over here with the bottle of red and some other people that just want to have a good old chat. John Clark. I loved John Clark. You're talking about New Zealand John Clark, who had an incredible career in Australia? You styled your look after Fred Dagg. Who can blame you? It's a look. I have seen Derek. Gold. But boy, did that show get slammed. After my stroke, when I was in hospital, I came across some British shows. I love them. Yeah, we want to know what ones, Bristol. Yeah, I love John Clark. Sarcastic. I kind of modelled a bit of my stand-up style on him, to be honest, without meaning to. But when I look back at some of my early performances, just the sort of turn of phrase and the dry sarcasm, I guess. But then I've also been compared to Mick Malloy. So, you know, I was reviewed once as Mick Malloy with boobs. I actually know Mick and he makes me laugh. I'll take it. But I was kind of surprised that was how I was reviewed. It was actually tits too, not boobs. She's a Mick Malloy with tits. Thanks. Could you at least have given me 3 stars, not 2.5? Are You Being Served? Keeping Up Appearances? Yes, both classic shows. Hyacinth's Bouquet. And so many of those shows are just, I mean, actually, I watched a few episodes of Are You Being Served a couple of years ago. It's so politically incorrect. But I tell you what's even more politically incorrect, and it's so wrong, it's fucking hilarious. Watch some of the really early Bond films. Oh my God. If anyone wrote a script and put out a movie, some of the lines that Roger Moore and Sean Connery, oh my God. It's so funny how inappropriate it is. And anytime I watch shit like that, I just appreciate that in its day when it was risque even in its day, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have a movie with a character called Pussy Galore these days, for starters. It was, adults only, inappropriate. But people that watch it now just get so butthurt, and it's like, put it back in the era when it was done. Like, okay, maybe society has grown a little bit since then, but does everything have to grow? Can't you just have a fucking good laugh? Because there will never be movies with so much innuendo, inappropriate innuendo, released ever again. Like, it's perfect in the way it is because it's reflecting an era where people didn't get fucking offended by everything. Oh, the names are, Octopussy. Well, yes, absolutely. Fab is insanely good. Yeah, I love Derek too. Yeah, but I'm just glad you found them, Bristol. Oh, Sean Connery was hilarious. And so was Roger Moore. The pair of them, I think, were brilliant James Bonds. They got away with so much because they were so fucking charming. Even Moneypenny, like all of the... I'm trying to think of some of the other girls' names in it. But, I mean, Pussy Galore is one of the... Imagine now just putting out a movie called The Amazing Life of Pussy Galore. And all these little wokies just getting so fucking upset. because it doesn't mention pussy's preferred pronouns. And in not doing so, or giving her the wrong ones, him, her, they, whatever, is an act of violence. Fuck me dead. Fuck all of you wokies. You can all be woke together. Just leave the rest of us reasonable people who just enjoy our friends and having a laugh with them. Leave us all alone. We haven't got time for you and your stupidity. Sorry, your choice of how you wish to live your life. That's your choice. I choose to have nothing to do with it. Thank you and good night. Kanga Blue, how are you? Would have been crazy stressful, I agree, Emily. Bristol's a bloody survivor. Oh, I haven't even been down that road, Tony, and I probably won't. A lot of vagina, yes. You're amazing, Bristol, and we love you. We love you too, Emily, and Kanga Blue, and Tony, and Joman. I love it that I put the call out for pleasant people of YouTube, and I'm happy that I didn't even get a dozen because it's just reaffirmed what I already knew. We are the absolute minority on this platform, and we always will be. But even a tiny little channel like Smooth Criminals, Sleuths and Smooth Criminals attracts much hatred. I wonder if that woman who told me I was making money on my channel will respond. They never do. That's the other thing, guys. I mean, I'm hoping that Mob Boss does because Mob Boss is part of the community, but so many people have commented on my YouTube videos and I take the time to write a response and I never hear from them again. You're outside too, enjoying the day with your puppies. Yay! This is such a gorgeous day, although now I sadly do have to head home and do some chores. I have many a chore to do. Not domestic goddessing. I unfortunately have to sit at my computer and write some emails and do that kind of shit, which on a day like this, and I can't leave it till after hours. Ugh. But I'll be back down here later. And Finn and I are doing batshit tonight too, if anyone is around, at 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing another episode of Batshit, so come and hang with us for that. I've also got some lives that I'm going to start cranking on Sleuths and Smooth Criminals, looking at social media and the impact it's having on cases, both negative and positive. I found not plenty of, but I found a decent amount of positive ones. And I sort of want to kick off with just what's happened in the last week with one of the judges from MasterChef dying suddenly at age 46, and just how quickly the rumour mills started spinning and the conspiracy theories started appearing and the speculation not based on fact was put out there, and the titles that the media have used to make it all very sensationalistic. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm just waiting to hear confirmation from a reputable source before I go live with it, because I want it to have a conclusion that is fact-based. So $80% of drunk. I can only speak for myself on that. Tony, don't. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Stop it. We're broadcasting Batshit tonight. It'll be 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But Joman, you're subscribed to the Batshit channel. So, actually, Finn is going to be producing. I normally set it up a few hours beforehand so you can set a reminder. Just jump on the world clock and just type in what time it is where you are when it's 8:30 p.m. in Sydney, Australia, or Melbourne, Australia, and you'll work it out. Oh, my pleasure to share it. You all right? No, you don't, Joman. You come in at the end and then you say you don't want to vote because you didn't hear all the stories. I mean, not every time. Oh, you can do your math in the head. I can't. I can't do math. That's why I chose to be a lawyer. I'm very good at letters. I speak letters. I don't speak numbers. How cool is this wheelchair access ramp we put in? Well, council put it in. We applied for it and it was funded by the council. And on the days that we have the disabled surfers meets, one of the first things I do is I sweep this the whole way up. I mean, this isn't too bad, but sometimes there's like mounds of sand. Wave goodbye to the beach, everyone. Look at the one about the boy that went missing in Texas. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well, I do when I need to go, but I don't, Tony. So I'm not just going to pull my pants down for the hell of it. But thanks for the suggestion. But yeah, there's been many a time we've been walking this beach, and I mean, there are loos here. My house is another 2/3 of the way along the beach, and then there's also loos at the other end. But sometimes between here and the track up to my place, my sister and I might have to do a little June wee. You didn't say you'd get, well, you'd probably still get closer than I would, Joman. But it's bye from me and it's bye from the beach, or as the two Ronnies, another English show that I grew up watching, used to say. So it's good night from him and it's good night from me. It's not good night, though. Look, I'll see you all again very soon. Stay groovy, everyone. Thanks for the laughs too, guys. I know whenever I go live, if people are just sort of under my skin and I need to get them out of my system, I know that a walk on the beach and hanging out with you groovers fixes everything. Now I can just go home and have a beautiful salad for lunch and get these friggin' emails done so I can get back out in the sunshine. But I love you, groovers, and I'll see you all on the flip side.